One against London tonight. I guess just your take on the game here this evening.
I don't really have a take on the game. We got outworked, we got outcompeted, outbattled. We weren't even a fraction of what we should be. So, right, you can't show up in this league the second half of the season and stick check and not compete. And our group's better than that. Those young kids are better than that, and the expectation for them is higher. And I think they've just. Right, it's been a busy couple days, and I'm not making excuses for them. The trade deadline is it's a tough spot for them. They're not sure what's going on, and there's lots of rumors going around. But again, you can't come in and not compete against, especially a team like that. Right, we've had 3 real good games against Guelph, and then the games before, but that was just we throw that game right out the window.
I was going to say, you guys have had points in 4 straight games, and I guess what was the difference between tonight and those efforts that you had before?
Compete, care, passion.
Coach, we had a shot, I think it was after the first goal or after the second goal, where you had the tablet out and you're talking to one of the players, sort of right there in the moment. Now that you've set your roster for the second half of the season, is that going to be something that we'll sort of see more often, is sort of those teaching moments right then and there as things happen on the ice?
Yeah, I think that's. I said we're not we're not naive to the group we have. We're a real young, inexperienced group that on some nights we're going to get pushed around because there's bigger, stronger kids in the league, and we understand that. But there's an expectation of work ethic. There's an expectation of compete that we've built here, and they're capable of matching it. And then we've shown that what happens when we match it. We'll stay in games, and they'll develop, and they'll learn. And yes, we're in a mode where we want to develop. We've got a real good young group of guys, and those kids have to get pushed the right way to develop. And part of it is on our older guys. They've done a good job this year, but they need to step it up too. They need to step up and set the standard in practice, set the standard in the game that, listen, we're not going to get pushed around because we're out here, and we're going to insulate them and help them. And I think tonight was, we looked distracted right from the start. The focus in the room looked good, and then we came out, and it's just, like I said, if you try and stick check these guys, they're way too skilled, they're way too fast, they're way too talented. And there's going to be teams in the second half that are that talented, but right, our compete, our work ethic, we weren't even, there was moments in the game we didn't even know if we should be forward checking or back checking, and it was just, we were tuned out, and then they couldn't grasp it and get it back.
I guess that's one of the reasons sort of statistics can lie sometimes, because you guys had 40 shots on goal, but not a lot of quality around the net at all.
No, and I think when you get into those games, right, the other team takes their foot off the gas, and then they start doing stuff that's not normally stuff that they would do. So I think we don't even look at that kind of stuff. For me, it's it'll show some stuff where it shows them winning a puck race, them winning a 50-50 battle, and we're going to lose those. It's just the reality of hockey. And when you're a 16-year-old, 17-year-old going against a 19-year-old, you might lose that. But we have other guys on the ice that are capable of being in the right spot to help insulate those guys. And then you recover, and it's what you do after that mistake that's important to us. And like I said, we've shifted a big focus on development, but you can't develop if you don't start with just your work ethic first.
They jumped out, obviously, to the lead, had the 5-goal lead after the first period. You kept Nick in net for the second period, then made the change to begin the third. Why the timing there? Like maybe traditionally, people might have expected a change at the end of the first period. Was there a reason you wanted Nick to sort of stay in there and battle, or what was your reasoning?
Yeah, I think that's it. I know Nick. He's a battler. Nick is our identity. He sits in there night in, night out, day in, day out at practice, and works his tail off, and comes to the rink as a professional and competes and is first and last to leave the ice and wants to get better. So I owe it to him to try and rebound in the second, and I owed it to our guys to try and play for him. And there was pockets where we didn't. I think it's better if he stays in that second and comes out with a couple of good saves and comes out feeling better about his period than the first period. And then probably looking forward, I was planning on playing Chartier against Sudbury on Friday anyway, so I get to get another young kid a little bit of action. But I owed it to Nick because he's been our identity all year. He is what we want to be. He emulates us, where every day he's on the ice trying to get better in any way he can. And I need 22 more guys jumping on board with the way he competes.
And you've spoken since day one that this team's identity has to be its work ethic. How do you kind of drill that into them again after a night like this, going into a game Friday, going into the second half of the season?
Yeah, I think it just comes with the consistency, and it's not so much it's work ethic, but it's all the other little details, like showing up to the rink early and going into the weight room and stretching and staying on the ice and doing a little bit extra, right? That goes a long way, and we've set the standard that way, and now it's about being sharp. Like if you look back at that game, we had some tape-to-tape passes that didn't even get executed tape-to-tape, and that's right. That's expected at least at the OHL level, and so we're not focused, or we weren't in that game physically, we weren't in that game mentally, and they've got to learn that it starts tomorrow in practice coming back, and then now we prep for Sudbury, right? This game gets tossed, but you can work as hard as you want, but if you're not working in the right spots or working in the right position, you're just working to work, and that's not good enough in hockey. You've got to work smart. And then when you get those opportunities, the execution has to come in, and our structure has to come in. And we go into the game in Guelph in the first period. There's 6 minutes left in the first, and we've given up 3 shots to a pretty good hockey team, right? So we have the capability of doing that, and it's just a matter of continuing to push the focus.
This is your first home game since getting back from the juniors. I mean, what has it been like for you, kind of getting back into the routine of being with the team again?
Yeah, it's been good. It's been real good to come back, and you miss that group. I miss the group in there. I miss the coaching staff, and I miss the way we go about our day. It becomes comfortable and familiar, and it was nice to get back and get into the groove a little bit with practices. And my experience over there was great. I learned a lot. I improved as a coach. I got to meet some real good people when you work with Hockey Canada, and obviously the results weren't even close to what we wanted, and we understand the expectations across Canada, but at the end of the day, I'm a better coach and a better person for having gone through that adversity for myself, and I can share some of that with our kids, because they're going to go through that adversity at some point in their careers too, and probably their second half of this season there's going to be some adversity that they're going to have to fight, and I can learn from that too.
And you mentioned it, kind of improving as a coach. Like, what do you pick up this time around as head coach, as opposed to going through it a couple times as an assistant?
Yeah, I think you just, when you go back through it, you're do you little moments that maybe you could have changed a thought process, or something you maybe wanted to implement that maybe you didn't. I think it was just more about maybe setting the tone a little bit early for a group. It's different when the U18 Helenka team, I knew those kids before because I had them at a camp. This was a group I didn't know, so I had to find ways to interact and get to know them. And so, right, getting out of my comfort zone and trying new things and allowing other coaches to try some stuff too. I thought our staff worked well together. I thought we put the work into to build that team, but unfortunately, at the end of the day, a hockey bounce hurts us.